y'all. Welcome to episode 233 of Consignment Chats, where today we're going to talk about a topic that comes up so often in our community. We have our private Facebook community and for Consignment Chats, and we get this very regularly. How do I move my business online? How? Well, you know what? The beautiful
And if
thing
you're
about-
already online, we're including some tips and tricks here for you. So, stay tuned. You're going to get something out of it as well. Yeah.
Promise. We promise. But you know what? You guys are lucky. You are so lucky to be asking the question in this community because we got people here that have actually lived the process, walked the walk, done it successfully. Doesn't mean there weren't hiccups. Always lessons learned.
Oh, yeah.
But Libby did this. Libby shut her storefront down and we are fully online. So we're going to help you out. But before that, Libby, I want you to tell me a little bit about how your week went this past week before we jump in.
Hey, y'all. Welcome to Consignment Chats. This is Molly, and I'll be joined by my co-hosts Libby and Samantha.
I had a very challenging week. I had to give myself some grace, and because I did not meet my tactics this week, and I had some outside circumstances, so I just had to remember that some things are out of my control, and I just have to keep moving forward. So that was kind of my week, was that mental challenge of like something gets in the way. Do I quit? Well, that was never really on the table, but do I beat myself up or do I just, keep moving forward? So it's my week. I'm just keeping moving forward. That was my week last week. Just keeping moving forward, playing that mental game with myself of, what have I learned from it? And how can I overcome a hurdle better next time? So that was my week. How about yours?
Boom. Yeah. So I had a good week. I mean, I had some banger sales last week. My sales were great. Nick loves to keep the record. I didn't ask him. This might be a sales record for me. I don't know.
Ooh.
I'd have to have him look at that, but it was a big week, which I was happy about because I know a lot of people have been talking about how slow things are. But y'all, the proof is in the pudding. I mean, you just got to list the higher end items and then the higher end dollars come your way. That's a whole nother episode I can get into that we should do about how I've changed this and the whole sourcing strategy and where I'm at and why this has built up. And it all goes back to the 12-week year. Drink, Jill, if you're listening. Book club. We're mentioning book club. Every time we mention book club, you got to drink. I'm drinking. Mm-hmm.
Cheers.
But doing the 12-week year program has really, I said to Libby the day I read it, oh my gosh, this book was written for me. I want to thank them again for actually taking the time to write a book for Molly.
Yeah, that was really nice of them.
Wasn't it sweet of them? I mean, we've never even met. And God, they freaking wrote a book for me. I mean, good
People
gracious,
love you.
thanks.
I mean, what can we say? People just love you. Samantha and I always say Molly is everyone's favorite.
Yeah. Anyway, it's really been a game changer for me. Am I perfect? Heck no. Do waves roll through our lives? Heck yes. But it has been, now we're coming to the end of year 2 of the 12-week year, and it just truly has changed my business and how I do things.
Yeah.
I do think about it daily. Yes, I could be doing so much more. And I may build to that. I've looked at every new year, which if you don't know, 12-week year, it's a quarterly thing. Each year starts something that I take another step into. So it's really changed my thinking. I've never been the business-minded person. I'm sure any of you that have listened to us over time, yes, I can give you some good advice, but the backbone business aspect of it has never been my jam. I leave that up to Libby.
I think that's changed at this point. I don't think you can say that any longer, my friend.
Well, I've always left that up to you and to my husband, Nick, aka Mr. C Chats, to kind of run the business numbers in. But yeah, I found myself last night doing the math. I got up the spreadsheet, did the math. I'm like, I got 2 more weeks left in the year. I brought in this much net. I put my goal at this much net. I got 2 weeks left. how much do I need to sell each of these 2 weeks to hit my annual goal? And dadgum kids, I am so much better off than I thought I was. So yeah,
wow.
it was a good week. It was I'm happy. I'm happy.
And yeah, I should mention that the registration for year 3, which will start in the beginning of July, I think the second week in July, the second Monday in July, the registration will be opening up again for that probably next week. So watch for that if you're in our Facebook community, the private community, or you are in our Patreon group. Yes, if you've participated in year 1 and or year 2, you still need to sign up for year 3. You need to make that commitment. And yeah, we're going to have some new things that we're adding. We're learning along the way. It's going to be even better in year 3. And we're really excited to bring that to you and work with you.
I'm thinking about it. Year 3, like, okay, I didn't do year 1. I didn't do year 2. Can I really start in the middle of a true calendar year? Heck yeah, you can. You can start anytime. But here's the beauty. If anybody's thinking, maybe I will dip my toes into this little 12-week year thing with these people. What a great time to start.
Yeah.
We've got 2 years under our belt. So we've already made the mistakes and know how to guide you through a lot of that when it comes to your initial planning out your goals for that time and all that. We already got that. We've been there, done that now twice. So we really know how to help narrow you down and get you to focus on the right things. But also it's summer, like summer slowdown. That's a kind of a great time to really have the chance to back up and think about breaking down your business goals and setting some tactics if you haven't done it yet.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Year 3 might be the best year yet because, we're so busy and generally so busy in the other quarters. It's hard and that's one of our tips, like for summer slowdown, is don't revamp your business. Don't go down a rabbit hole. Don't get negative. Like just keep doing the things and, that are going to improve your business, especially going into Q4. So yeah, I think year 3 might be the year for you.
Right? I was thinking about that the other day, and then you brought it up now, and I'm like, it really is a great year, quote year. I have to do my hand quotes, year 3 of the 12 weeks of the 1 year. It's a great time to jump in. Like,
oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm so glad you said that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm even more excited about it now. All right. So don't spend your time in negative rabbit holes trying to revamp your business because it's summer. It's slower. Spend your time doing something productive, like year 3 of the 12-week year.
Boom. There you have it. All right. We're done.
Yep.
Cheers, y'all. Oh, wait. We do have this other topic to talk about.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. We do. So go ahead.
Let's do it. I think we should jump in. I mean, we had a question, 2 weeks ago from somebody in our community who is in the process of doing this and had some questions of like the timing of how do I get the items back to the consignor and this, that, and the other. And it just opened up a lot of other questions. So I think, Libby, why don't you start with your story? Let's start with your story.
So I had a storefront for 3 years. I operated in a storefront. That's how I opened from 2012 to 2015. And yeah, I moved. I made the decision that I was going to move online. I did not own the property I was in. It was like external circumstances. I know a lot of you moved during COVID, moved from a brick and mortar to online, but mine was well before. I did the move well before that. And it was kind of something, my hand was a little forced in this, and I wasn't sure it was going to work. So it worked brilliantly. I had the idea to transition back to a storefront, but that never happened because the online, it was just more profitable and just it suited my lifestyle. I had younger kids at the time, way better. So that was what happened. So my number one mistake that I made was something big, and it was apologizing and not putting the right spin on it and making it seem like it was something negative. And it was not intentional. it was just, I thought I was stating the facts at the time because I didn't feel great about it. I felt like it was something I was being a little bit forced into, wasn't super excited about. And boy, was that a huge mistake, because that lack of, confidence and vision,
Ownership
definitely
and
ownership, translate it to the people that worked for me. It translated to my consigners, my customers, like, because I felt unsure of it and like where the future was headed. So it was really getting in the right headspace for this transition. And I've watched other people and helped other people transition over the years, and getting in that right headspace is number one to do it. I've done it successfully, but that was my biggest mistake. And it didn't help that probably about 6 months prior to my moving online, one of the local consignment stores in my area had also closed. And apparently they did it in a way where they did not pay out the consigners. The consigners didn't pick up their stuff. So there was a lot of and there were a lot of people that had consigned with them that also consigned with me. So there was a lot of negativity, a lot of uncertainty.
Well, there was fear,
fear,
the fear and the untrust and the the word on the street is.
I felt like I was kind of like backpedaling, and trying to assure people that that wasn't the case here, that they would be paid out, that their items would be available for pickup, that everything was going to go smoothly. And I'd probably, instead of trying to like backpedal and reassure people, I should have addressed that right up front. And maybe that had a lot to do with the mindset. So, number one, let's get your head on straight. If you're doing this move, we're going to give you like tools, tips, tricks, and go get your head on straight and go in with confidence and an absolute plan, especially for your consigners and your customers. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I know one of my number one things that I would say to people, and you may have others, but just on this particular topic, is my putting your items solely online is giving you a much larger audience to sell your items.
Right. Yes.
And that's a game changer,
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about like first step. You're gonna make the announcement. You're not gonna let people see a
first step is
thing.
Get your head on straight.
Right.
After you get your head on straight,
step.
after you've practiced in the mirror your confident way that you're going to state these amazing changes that you're doing in your business, because you realize you can offer people so much more by making this move. Then what's next?
Yeah, you need to make the announcement, and don't let people come to you and see we're closing or hear it someplace else. You want to get ahead of it. You want to very clearly explain that it is a transition in the business. You will be keeping things, selling, moving. You want to be very clear about payouts. That is going to be the number one thing people are concerned about. How are you going to handle payouts? Maybe it's going to be the same way you've always done the payouts. Maybe it's like for me, I issued when I moved online, because there was so much unrest and fear. I issued everyone checks at the end and just cleared off the books totally. But in today's environment, I would probably have just continued with the payout structure I'm doing and say everything is going to remain the same. If you feel like you want to pay, just let us know, and we can accommodate that. Yeah.
And your circumstances were so different because of having that one bad close down. I mean, that's not a typical thing to happen. So you may not be in a situation where you have to do all the payouts at one time, because
let your consigners and customers know you're excited about this move, because like Molly said, they're going to have a much larger audience for their items. It is just going to enhance, their sell-through rate. And sometimes even their shopping experience, where they can go online and, be able to see all the details of every item you have in inventory. And so just reassure them like that. The other thing is the items. what are you doing with all the items? Are you just transitioning all the items? Are you allowing people to pick up? What are you going to do with all of them before you move? Are you going to have a pickup day?
Yeah, I think that's a big one to think about, right?
Huge.
Because you don't want a mass influx of people coming in trying to get all their stuff. And,
right.
you know, and you may want some people to pick up because maybe you going online means you're changing the items you accept. So, you know, yeah, that's a lot to think about, right?
Yeah, just be very clear about that. So in my store, I didn't generally allow pickup. At the end there, I didn't allow pickup. However, when I was making the transition, I did reach out to my consigners and say, if you would like to pick up, let me know. We'll schedule a time. You can come, you can get your remaining items, and we'll go ahead and do that. So I did allow pickup because there was no way I was moving this into my home. It's going to depend on what kind of like storage area you have. And
sure, you have to think about all that as you're making this transition.
Yeah, you really have to think about that. So I was excited for consigners to actually, for the first time ever, I was excited to have consigners pick up and clear out some of that inventory. And then the other option is when they come to pick up, if they don't want to pick up, they're like, you know what? A lot of my consigners couldn't have been bothered, is have a donation, have a network, have some place for those excess items to go if you don't have the storage for your online business. So go ahead and do that. Get that all situated. Yeah. All right.
I think that is swell advice. And I think
that's a word we don't use enough, I don't think.
Swell advice. But I also think, like, just to kind of go a little deeper there, as you're deciding to do this move, to make sure you do think about the things we just touched on. What kind of space are you going to be working in? How much are you going to be able to house and store in your home or wherever your new workspace is going to be as you transition to online, so that you can pre-plan and have all that very clear cut. Again, when you reach out to them, I will no longer be accepting furniture, whatever it is that, maybe there's some changes in what you do. I know, Libby, you were continuing to accept furniture for a while, and now you've gotten completely away from that due to the storage. I mean, that's a lot to store. Or maybe your online business is going to niche down and be all jewelry. Think of all that ahead of time and have your plan, because the more concise you are in anything you do, the more secure you come across and the more people trust in you, because you can present it in such a knowledgeable way of, this is what I'm going to do, this is how it's running. So make sure you think all that through ahead of time.
Yep. It's all about the confidence there. Think about it, have the confidence, be excited about it. It's contagious.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, you know what? I want to mention just very briefly, storage. Probably for your online business, storage is going to look a lot different. Displays, you're not going to have displays. So you need to really think through, what you're going to get rid of. Like, I know I had to empty the building completely. So, it was getting rid of all of the racks and hangers and checkout counter and all of the things that I had used for display. So, think about that. You probably don't want to be moving that stuff around. There are always a lot of people that are interested in those items. I think at the time I popped them up on Facebook Marketplace. There were, people just opening stores, people that were expanding their stores that needed these racks and stuff. So if you don't need to take a lot of that stuff and you do own it, think about your storage is not going to be the same for your online business as it was for your storefront. So there's all those fixtures and things like that you really need to consider and have a plan for. But it depends on your, setup and in your new situation.
Do you have an e-basement, or did you kick your son off to college and take his room over? What kind of situation do you have to store your items?
Yeah, I don't know. Or storage unit,
Yeah.
Garage.
Storage unit. I mean, there are several people that do storage units, and they get up every morning and go pick their to be shipped items from the storage unit and come home and do that.
Yeah.
there are
So I
people that-
went from I'm gonna guess about 30,000 items in the storefront to about 2,000 when I moved online. So just to give like a general idea, it was I got rid of, so what would that be? I got rid of about 28,000 pieces of inventory before I moved, and I did start the online fairly small. Well, the online was already started. Like Molly had been running our eBay business in conjunction with the storefront. So it wasn't like opening up a whole new storefront. And I know a lot of you have Shopify stores, and we're going to get into that in just a second.
Yeah.
But first I want to touch on, if you are going all online, you need some good software, guys. You gotta figure that
100%.
out. A lot of our storefront people have already figured that out, and a lot of it will transition very well. We use Consign Cloud. At the time of my transition, I used Simple Consign, and it was great because they have both software, Simple Consign and Consign Cloud, have excellent consigner portals, and they integrate with Shopify. You need that. I think it would be very difficult to run an online consignment business or an online reselling business without the right software. If you are doing consignment, please check out Consign Cloud, check out their consigner portal. My consigners are thrilled with it, and they don't need to pick up the phone and call me or text me. They just log on, they get their info, things are running smoothly. All their items are cataloged in there. They can see what's sold. So figure that out. What's your if your communication piece with your customers needs to change, what's that going to be? And let them know. Let them know. You know, I was thankful that I didn't have to transition software systems at the time of my move. Everything kind of stayed the same for my consigners. I did have to just give them a little more coaching to say, hey, you know, it's because they weren't able to just stop in and say, hey, what's up? Can I get a payout? Or, you know, I'm going to use store credit. So there was a little extra nudging and, you know, reintroducing the consigner portal and all of that. But that was fairly easy. Yeah. So
I'm trying to be good because y'all, we didn't even start off telling you Samantha's not here today. She's having computer issues. So I'm trying to be good with doing all the little tickers at the bottom. And I think I'm ticking some wrong things down there. So.
You're doing great,
bear with
Molly.
Me. I realized as you start.
I
know. I'm like, wait a minute. Samantha's usually running our little things down the bottom. Oh my gosh. And I just ran one for the live. So yeah.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah. Yeah. Right, so a lot of you have Shopify stores. If you don't, you need, you know, you have your software in place. You got to figure out your flow for the online business. Where are you going to list? How are you going to get traffic? It is very difficult, and I will link up the episodes on like, should you have a website? Maybe you have an amazing website with crazy traffic. You know, most of us have Shopify. And that's great, but is it going to be enough to sustain your online business? Probably not. I don't want to be a negative Nelly here, but you really need to look at what your flow is going to look like, where you're going to be selling, and, you know, how you're going to get traffic. We do recommend eBay. That is like generally about 90% of our sales. It generates its own traffic. So you got to figure out the flow for that. So,
and I want you to stop right now.
Oh yeah.
Because I know you heard the term eBay. Yes, I'm talking to you out there. And you went, eBay? Oh no, that's scary. It's not scary, y'all. We can do it. I did it. I do it. Libby does it. It is not as scary as it seems to be. So much has changed over the years that has made it seller friendly, the way you can set things up. So just remember, if that idea of building onto that and putting a presence on eBay scares you, we have episodes and we can help you. You will realize, oh my gosh, I was scared for nothing. And now I have an international, worldwide view of these items. So
hop in our Patreon community, get the support you need. We are all doing it there, and you can too. But I want to caution anybody that just has Shopify, just please, you have to generate your own traffic. It can be very difficult, expensive, time consuming. Think about other options.
Yeah.
And what that's going to look like, because you want to make sure these items now are getting the traffic, are getting a possibly worldwide audience, not just the people visiting your website. So you want to do right by your consigners and customers.
Yeah.
And that being said, this all of this goes for reselling. If it's a thrift store, and this all goes, maybe you don't have to worry about the consigner portal or anything like that. But all of the information we're giving here is totally applicable to no matter what type of reselling business you have. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And, there's Poshmark. We have all sorts of episodes on different platforms and, what might be best for your business. So go check those out. And again,
and there's all kinds of software out there that will help make things easier. And and I mean, again, we have episodes on all this, or we can help you with a 1-on-3 coaching. But I just know, because I remember how I felt, that people that are listening to this that have never sold on eBay are thinking worldwide audience, like international shipping. Oh, you can do it. It's so much easier than people think it is. It just sounds so scary because eBay is such a large platform, and thinking of shipping things worldwide can just seem so scary. But it's not.
It's not.
Just trust us. It's not.
And I'm thinking like, all right, if I was just moving online, and I would be totally overwhelmed when somebody's talking about like Shopify and eBay and like Poshmark and how do I do all this? And it's just like, oh my gosh, it just has to seem ridiculously. And consigner portals, like, how do I even like wrap my head around this? It might sound complicated. We can help you shrink it down, just get a flow. So I'm just going to tell you like a very simple flow that I do, just so you can kind of just get something tangible in your head. So everything I have, all my inventory as it comes in, is logged by consigner in Consign Cloud, which automatically hooks to Shopify, to my website. Okay, that's easy. I'm just entering the stuff. You might already be doing that. And then I use Vendoo. And Vendoo is a cross-listing software. So all of the stuff I import into Vendoo. It's a very easy process. Check out Vendoo when you are ready. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't get overwhelmed. I'm just telling you that this is how it works. And then from there, I can push it to eBay. I can put it on Poshmark, Mercari. I don't use Mercari, but I can.
Grail, all those places.
Yeah. And you can build from there. So there are, ways to move this that are fairly simple, ways to move your inventory and distribute it across platforms if you so choose, and help you with all of that. But that's just the basics of what it looks like, the basic flow for me.
And we have said it, and we'll say it till we're blue in the face, till the day we leave this earth. If you are starting fresh online and you are in the storefront thinking, I want to start it, always start with eBay. eBay first. eBay, number one, start with them. Once you master that and you're comfortable and you've got it all down packed and we've helped you get all that together, then move forward and start thinking about the other things. If you don't have a software program for your inventory, as we have episodes on that, start with a spreadsheet. If you're only moving so many items from the store, you're letting everybody pick up and you're starting small, there are other ways to do it. However, if you're doing any major amount, I think the first thing personally, and Libby, you can correct me, I would start with a software that can house my inventory.
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. Like if you already have the brick and mortar and you're transitioning on, absolutely. I wouldn't do it without having the right software in place. I think it would be very difficult to keep consigners and to keep them informed of what's going on.
Number one.
Yeah.
Consignment software, eBay. Boom.
You got this. Woo!
Okay, we're done. No.
All right, so we're going to get our head. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to get our head on straight. We are going to be confident and excited. Show a little enthusiasm about the transition, because your customers and consigners are going to have a worldwide audience for their items. The sky's the limit. They should be super excited about this. And number two is get all of the things in place. Your software, your announcement, right? You know what you're doing. You're presenting it in a very positive light. You're knowing how they do how you're going to do the payouts at the end of the period. You know what your items are. And number three, you're just going to do it. And if you need help, you're going to come to us, or, I don't know who else does this, but there must be somebody out there, right?
Right.
You're gonna find some people to help you through this, that have been through this and get everything straight. And it is going to be amazing. My experience was absolutely amazing. I don't regret it, even though it was forced on me ish. I do not regret it for a second. I will never go back to a brick and mortar. Not my thing. But it has been just such a wonderful experience. Yeah.
I like that. And always keep in mind, y'all, any big changes, yes, there will always be bumps in the road. Yes, you will always have moments where you think, did I do the right thing? It's been a rough week. Surround yourself with a group of supportive people who will keep you lifted up and build you up and help you through that, because I can't fathom, as long as you're taking the right steps, that you will regret the changes and the moves. It may take a little time, but you will. I mean, we're living it. We are living this wonderful life that we talk about all the time. We love what we do. We have freedom. We can build things to give us time to do things with our family and for ourselves, because we have built these wonderful businesses and know how to pivot and move and make things happen, and have supportive community of people that help us through the rough times. Any big change has those moments, right? Any big change has moments where you can get in your head and, I don't want to use the term depression, but can give a little something there that you may go through.
Change is hard, good or bad. Change is really, really difficult. And there's a lot of mental hurdles to be overcome, even if you know it's the best thing. Like, you're going to have those moments. It's change. It's life, right?
So find those people who don't compete with you, but build you up and are proud of you and want to see you succeed. And they will help you through those moments.
Yes.
Those are the ones you want to surround yourself with, because it's great what you're doing. And if you are somebody listening that you're in the process of this, we're so excited for you. Like, so thinking excited. Like, can't wait. All right, Libby, anything else we have to add on there? Because I'm like, and I hope if you are in this process, or you have already done this and want to put in the comments some more advice we may miss, if you're thinking about making this jump and want to ask more questions, anything like that you want to put in there, throw it in the comments.
Yeah, like, subscribe, Consignment Chats. And if someone is thinking about moving their business online, consignment, resale, any kind of business, go ahead, forward them this episode and let them know that they are not alone. There are people that have walked this road. I think they will thank you for it.
All right, Libby, I'm missing Samantha. Where is she? Until next time.
Cheers. Here's her face. Wait, hold on.
Cheers. There we go.
Thank you for joining Libby, Molly, and Samantha, the ladies of Consignment Chats, as we grow your reselling business. For all things Consignment Chats, visit us at consignmentchats.com and join our free private communities on Facebook and/or Patreon.